Stay tuned now for adventure and excitement in the world of the future. It's entertainment for the entire family, produced right here in Kalamazoo.
Tonight we have a strange story to tell. A sweet, blood-curdling little tale that is really only 2 sentences long. The last man on earth sat alone in a room. There was a knock on the door. Think it over. Suppose you were the last man alive on Earth, in the universe for that matter. The last man sitting alone in a room, and suddenly there was a knock on the door. What knocked on the door? You wonder, don't you? Your mind, faced with the unknown, supplies something vaguely horrible. But it isn't horrible, really. You'll see.
Join us now for a voyage into another dimension. A journey into a realm as infinite and limitless as time itself. Our destination, the farthest reaches of the imagination. WMUK Special Projects presents Future Taste.
Knock by Frederick Brown. The last man on Earth, all alone in a room, a rather peculiar room. He'd been studying the reason for its peculiarity, and his conclusion didn't horrify him. It annoyed him. There was a knock on the door.
What? Huh?
Good morning, man.
Who are you?
You have regained consciousness.
Who are you?
I am a Zond.
Maybe if I close my eyes, it'll go away.
I will not go away, man.
Oh no, I guess I am awake. What are you?
I am a Zond.
What's that?
A Zond is intelligent life.
What? What happened? Where are you from?
From Planet 7 in the 4th galaxy of the 3rd quadrant.
Where?
It is not necessary to repeat information which is correct in the original statement.
Planet 7? You mean I'm not on Earth?
You are still on your planet.
Oh, then, what are you doing here?
The Zonds have annexed your world.
You mean you've conquered Earth?
Yes, that is correct. We will now prepare your planet for habitation by the Zonds.
But how about the people?
There is no longer any use for large numbers of lower life forms. Therefore, we have dispensed with them.
Dispensed with? You mean you've... when did all this happen?
2 days ago. You have been unconscious until now.
You really mean that I'm the last man on Earth?
That is correct. Identify yourself now.
What?
Kindly provide data as to your position in the elementary social order of your planet.
I'm Walter Phelan, Associate Professor of Anthropology at Western Michigan University. Well, how is it you speak English?
We have deciphered your written and recorded records. It is not difficult to reconstruct your language. It is a primary type of auditory communication.
Oh.
Is there anything you want to complete your natural habitat?
You mean I'm a prisoner?
That is correct. What will you want further in your room?
Well, do I have to stay here?
Yes.
The rest of my life?
Forever.
Well, you better bring in my books. I gotta call you something. Do you mind if I call you George?
It is immaterial.
All right, then. George? You know, I can't really believe this.
That is characteristic of low life forms.
I'm trying to take this in without going off balance completely.
I will be back, Associate Professor of Anthropology.
Oh, it's all right, George. Just call me Walter.
Very well, Walter. I will be back with your books.
All right, George. I'll see you around.
You will not be around, Walter. You will be here.
Come in. Oh. Hello, George.
Hello, Walter.
What can I do for you?
Point 1. You will please henceforth sit with your chair pointed the other way.
Oh, I thought so. That plain wall is different from the other sides, isn't it?
That is correct. It is transparent.
Oh, that's what I thought. I'm in a zoo, right?
That is correct.
Oh, I knew it. If I persist in sitting with my back to it, what then? You'll kill me? I ask hopefully.
No, we will not kill you.
Well, that's too bad, George. Face the bars and perform for the people. I mean for the Zons. How many other animals do you have here in the zoo, George?
216. Male and female of each of 108 kinds.
Male and female of all the animals?
There is a female of your species among the collection.
Anyone I know? Well, never mind. It doesn't matter anyway. Well, George, you started out with point 1. I suppose there's a point 2 kicking around somewhere. What is it?
One thing we do not understand. 2 of the other animals sleep and do not wake. They are cold. What is wrong with them, Walter?
Well, they must be dead.
Dead? That means stopped. But nothing stopped them. Each was alone.
Well, sure, they just died.
But I told you they were alone. Nothing stopped them.
George, do you mean to tell me that you don't know what natural death is?
Death is when a being is killed, stopped from living.
Well, maybe these animals just died of old age.
Old age. I do not understand.
Well, George, how old are you?
Your planet went around its sun about 7,000 times since I was born.
7,000 years?
Yes, and I'm still young.
Oh, look, George, you've got something to learn about this planet you've hijacked. Here on Earth, we've got somebody that's a stranger where you come from. Down here, people and animals live until the Grim Reaper stops them.
This Grim Reaper stopped the 2 animals?
Right.
Will he stop more?
Oh, he gets us all, George.
This is a new factor we have not considered.
Well, you can consider it. Because when the Grim Reaper gets through, there won't be very much left of your zoo.
You mean he will stop more animals soon?
Well, with your lifespan, it won't seem more than a minute and we'll all be gone. It looks like you've made a mistake, George. And I don't think there's very much you can do about it.
That is not correct. The Zon is a logical being. We will take action. You will live here now, Walter. It is a larger room.
Well, be it ever so humble.
Go inside.
Be careful with those books, George. Don't... Oh, excuse me.
Who are you? What are you doing here?
Well, I guess George didn't explain. George tries to be polite, but he hasn't quite caught on yet. I'm Walter Phelan.
I'm Grace Evans, Mr. Phelan. What is all this about? Why did they bring me here?
Well, I think I know why.
Why?
You see, I've been talking to George.
George?
I leave you two now.
Well, that's what I call him. All of them. There's no way to tell them apart. And anyway, there aren't many of them here yet. They come from outside the solar system. Sort of an advanced scouting party.
Yes, I saw their spaceship. It's as big as a mountain.
They're moving in on us. They've cleaned off the Earth with some sort of vibration that destroys all sorts of animal life. They killed everybody.
Oh, no!
And the cheerful note is that you and I and 200-odd other animals were picked up beforehand as specimens for the zoo. You know that this is a zoo, don't you?
I suspected it, but I don't remember anything about being captured. I just woke up here.
Well, they solved a lot of problems for us. Housing shortages, wars. I don't suppose the human race, you and I, that is, have to worry about anything now.
It's awful.
Only they made one mistake. They overestimated us.
I don't understand.
They thought we were immortal.
Immortal?
Immortal, like they are. Oh, they can be killed. The Zans don't know what natural death is, though. And they didn't know anyway until they lost 2 of us yesterday.
You mean there are more than 2 of us?
No, no more of our species. These were merely brother animals, a rabbit and a canary. And by the Zan's way of reckoning time, the rest of us are only good for a few minutes more anyway. Well, that's a joke on them. They figured they had permanent specimens here in their zoo.
But didn't they know that we all die eventually?
No, I don't think so. You see, George told me that he was 7,000 years old. And he's supposed to be young. When they learned how quickly we die, they were probably shocked to the core. If they have cores.
How can you talk about it that way?
Academic detachment. I learned it at faculty meetings. At any rate, they've decided to reorganize their zoo 2 by 2. They figure we'll last longer collectively, if not individually.
Well, if they think, that is, if you think for 1 minute.
Oh, no, don't worry. I don't.
But are they going to keep us locked up together in this one little room?
I'm afraid so.
Oh, it's horrible.
Well, I agree with you perfectly, my dear. But all personal considerations aside, the least favor we can do the human race is to let it end with us. I don't see much point in continuing it just for an exhibition in a zoo.
How can you just sit here and lecture?
Habit.
But we've got to do something.
What?
Well, I don't know. It just seems we owe it to the human race to do something.
Does it? You got a suggestion?
There must be some way. They can be killed, you said.
Well, I think that anything that would kill one of us would kill one of them. You see, I figured it out, I think. Now, George cut his... Well, I suppose you'd call it his hand, when he brought in my books. Now, it started to bleed red blood, but I could see the cut closing just as he stood there. And by the time he left, well, it was healed.
I don't understand.
Well, don't you see? Whatever factor there is in man that makes him grow old is missing in the Zan. They just go on and on and on until they're stopped.
But suppose we kill one.
Oh, what would be the use? Well, they wouldn't even punish us. They just give us our food through a trap door and put up a sign saying, "Beware of the man. Dangerous."
I don't think they'd have to bother in your case. I don't see anything funny.
This reminds me of Martha.
Martha?
My wife. She died 2 years ago.
I'm sorry.
Oh, not at all. Oh, that will be George with my books. Come in. Hello, George.
Hello, Walter. Point 1. I have brought your books.
Point 1, huh? Well, what else is on your mind?
Point 2. Another creature sleeps and will not wake. A small feathered one called a duck.
Well, it happens, George. I warned you. Old Man Death, the Grim Reaper. I told you all about him.
Walter, the Council of Zan has met. It has been decided logically that the only intelligent life to escape the vibration is you. Therefore, the logical conclusion is, you are stopping these animals by some means unknown to us.
George, you flipped your wig.
You will tell me now how this is done.
Well, are you boys afraid you're going to lose the whole zoo?
It is necessary to save the remaining specimens as long as possible. If we do not get information, we may be forced to dispense with your species entirely.
Oh, now, wait a minute.
This means you, Walter, and the female.
Now, wait a minute, George. Now, don't go off half-cocked. Let me take a look at these animals that won't wake up.
I will take you there, now. This is the weasel.
You should have got him in the winter, George. His fur is worth more than it's an ermine.
This is the reptile cage. Here are the ducks. This is the male. The female has been stopped.
A lucky girl. What's the matter, fellow? You lonely down there?
Walter, you will tell me how you stopped the female duck.
Well, you got me, George. I didn't do it. Maybe she died of the Dutch elm blight.
Walter, you are not being logical. We have concluded that you are stopping these animals. Tell us how it is done.
Well, I told you, George, I haven't the foggiest notion.
Very well. We will have to take further action.
What are you going to do, George?
We have methods of action. You will know soon. We will go back now to your room.
What happened, Mr. Phelan?
Call me Walter. After all, George does, and we have more in common.
Oh, please. What happened?
Oh, just a duck. A dead duck. George thinks I killed him by remote control. He thinks I'm holding out on him.
Good.
What?
Well, at least we can get back at them. At least we can do something to them.
But why? After all, George isn't a bad fellow, if you like an ant mentality.
How can you say that? They wiped out the whole human race. They've murdered everybody.
I suppose they have. But we can't change that now. So why think about it?
We can't just sit here and do nothing.
Well, I fail to see how we can do anything else.
Oh, of all the men in the world they had to pick. Don't you even want to fight back? Don't you want to keep on fighting until the end?
It hadn't occurred to me.
But we've got to, Walter.
Why?
Well, I can't really explain, but... Walter, if there was any good in man, it was that he kept on struggling against nature, and in the end, even against himself. But at least he kept on fighting for what he thought was right. And we're all that's left. Walter, we just can't end it by giving up. We've got to keep on fighting.
You do remind me of Martha.
Oh, look, there isn't much left for us, but we could beat them in this one small thing. We can pretend that there's a secret about death, and we could refuse to tell them anything.
But there isn't anything to tell.
They don't know that. Promise me you won't give in.
I suppose the worst they can do is to kill us.
Oh, Walter.
All right, Miss Evans. Hello, George.
Hello, Walter. Now you will tell us how these animals are stopped.
George, this may come as a great shock to you, but I've decided not to tell you.
Why?
Well, call it a romantic attachment to lost causes. My grandfather was a Confederate officer.
Walter, you are not being logical, but that is expected in lower life forms. You will come with me now, Walter.
Where are you taking him?
To the second level. Come now, Walter.
You won't tell them.
I can't guarantee anything, but as of now, I don't intend to.
We've got to fight. Remember that, Walter. We've got to go out fighting.
You will tell us now, Walter. That was the first level of vibration. There are many more. However, we have calculated that none of them exceeds your threshold of unconsciousness.
Very clever, George.
Of course. You will tell us now, how do you stop these animals?
As of now, no. However, I'm not very brave, if that encourages you.
You are not being logical, Walter.
Oh, you're telling me.
We will now use vibration level 2. You will tell us now?
You know, George, I can't figure it out myself. But I'm stubborn. Maybe it has something to do with the dignity of man. The civilization, such as it was, that you wiped out.
I do not understand.
I didn't think you would. But go ahead. Vibrate.
Vibration level 2. It will be very painful, Walter. Walter? You are still conscious.
Now let me alone, George.
You will tell us now. You will tell us how you stopped the animals.
Oh, please, let me alone.
We have had vibration levels 1 through 10. There are still 15 more before your threshold of unconsciousness.
Oh, no. Let me alone.
Walter, listen to me. Another creature sleeps and will not wake. We must know now.
Oh, that's tough. You'd better start vibrating again, George.
No.
What?
It would not be logical. We have calculated that no further level of vibration will overcome your irrational psychological block. We conclude you will not tell.
You mean you're going to let me go?
That is correct.
Well, that's real nice of you, George. I appreciate it.
We have calculated that the resistance of the female of your species will be lower. Huh? We will now place her under the vibrations.
No, George, you can't do that.
Why not, Walter? It's the logical thing.
Oh, no. She couldn't take it.
Yes, that is what we expect. Therefore, we will go and bring the woman here.
No. Now listen to me, George. There is no secret. Now, do you understand that? There's no secret. Those animals died from natural causes. I'm telling you the truth.
That is not a logical answer. We will get the woman.
Now, I told you the truth. Now, can't you understand?
We must know now. The female animal caged next to the duck has been stopped. We must preserve the survivor.
The animal? Next to the duck?
We will bring the woman here. She will tell us after the vibrations.
No, listen, George. George, do you want the truth? Do you want to know how to save the mates to the animals that have been stopped?
You will tell us now?
Yes, I'll tell you. Take me to that stopped animal, and I'll tell you how to save its mate.
Very well, Walter. You are being logical now. We will go.
Walter, are you all right?
Yes, just let me catch my breath a minute.
What happened?
Well, after a while, I told them what they wanted to know.
You didn't?
Sure. As George pointed out, it seemed to be the logical thing at the time.
You gave up.
Well, I suppose you can call it that. I guess I'm weak. Something might turn up, Martha.
But they've beaten us completely then. There isn't anything we can do. The last of the human race, and we give up. We don't even die fighting. Wait. You called me.
Huh? Oh, I must have said Martha. I'm sorry. She was my wife. She died 2 years ago. Now, what were you saying?
Nothing. Nothing. It doesn't matter now. It's too late. Too late. The whole thing.
What now, George?
Zahn has been stopped.
What?
Zahn is dead?
That is correct.
You didn't believe me, George. But you can die. You can really die. You'll have to get used to that if you want to stay here.
The council has decided. A, you have in some way stopped the Zahn. B, you and the woman must be eliminated.
Oh, you've got it wrong, George. I didn't stop that Zahn. It's just death. It gets all of us here.
You will be eliminated. Now.
Oh, but George, it won't do any good to kill us. It won't save you. Everything that lives on Earth must die.
That is not logical.
But it's true.
The council has decided. This time you will have the full vibration.
This time? Walter, what did they do to you?
Well, they have a rather effective third degree.
They tortured you, Walter?
Yes.
And Walter, it was all my fault.
I wouldn't have even tried without you. I suppose we have at least a chance now to end with some dignity.
I think you're a very brave man.
Well, there isn't much else to do. Do we go now, George?
Now, Walter.
Well, what's that?
I have been told another Zahn has died.
Well, now? Now will you believe me?
The council of the Zahn meets now.
2 Zahns gone already, and you were with me, George. You know I didn't kill this one.
What stopped them, then?
I told you. Why, it's old man Death. You came to the wrong planet, George. Your immortality doesn't go down here. He can stop you, but you can't stop him. And you'll all die if you stick around. Now what?
The council has decided. This is a place of death. We will leave your planet.
Leave? You mean you're giving up?
It is not safe for the Zahn.
Walter, they're leaving. They're really going.
Well, go on then, George, and don't hurry back.
It would not be logical to do so. We are leaving the Earth now. Goodbye, Walter.
Goodbye, George. Well, they're all aboard now.
Oh, it's so wonderful to feel the wind and the sun again. Walter, is it safe for us to be out here?
Sure, they're not interested in us any longer. They only want to get away. And I want to see this, Grace. The Zahn leaving Earth forever. Oh, no. They're blasting off.
There they go.
Yes, it's over now.
I still don't understand, Walter. What made them go?
Oh, I just told them the facts of life.
Of death, you mean?
No. Of life. After all, I thought George was old enough to know. 7,000 years, he was getting to be a pretty big boy.
I wish you'd stop joking and tell me what happened.
Well, do you remember when the first animals died?
Yes, the rabbit and the canary.
Well, their mates just wanted to pine and waste away.
Yes.
Well, that worried the Zahn. They wanted to keep the last specimens alive, but they couldn't. So, finally, I broke down and told them about affection.
Affection?
Mm-hmm. And then I introduced Donald.
Donald? Who's that?
Come with me and I'll show you. Grace, I want you to meet Donald.
Oh, Walter, please. What does affection have to do with it?
Well, that's what the Zahn wanted to know. I told them it was love that made the world go round. Having lost his mate, Donald would die immediately unless he had affection and constant petting.
Petting?
Mm-hmm. I even showed him how. Come here, fella. Come here. There. Yes, I held Donald in my arms, and I petted him a while, and then I let the Zahn take over with the animal in the next cage.
What animal?
Take a look. Now, watch out. Don't get too close.
It's a rattlesnake.
Yes, it's a rattlesnake. The Zahn's metabolism made it impossible for them to die of old age, but I had a hunch that they could be poisoned.
It was the snake that killed the two Zahn.
Yet they never knew what bit them.
Then you outwitted them, Walter.
Well, I suppose.
And I thought you'd just given up. Oh, Walter, I'm so proud of you.
You don't have to be. I had given up. I probably wouldn't have fought at all if you hadn't pushed me.
Oh, well.
Well, we've got a world to plan. A whole new world, Grace.
I know.
We'll have to decide which animals to let out of the zoo and which ones it'd be safer to keep in. But first, there's a much bigger problem.
What's that?
The human race.
Oh.
We've got to make a decision about that. It's a pretty important one.
Yes. But...
Well, it hasn't been a bad race. Of course, it may go backward for a while till it gets its breath. But, well, we can save the books and all of the most important things and get it started ahead once more.
Please, Walter.
Yes, it's the Garden of Eden all over again.
Don't be ridiculous, Walter.
Funny. You even blush like Martha. Only you're stronger than she was. And prettier, too.
I wish you'd forget about Martha.
I think I will, my dear. If you'll only give me a little time.
Now, Walter Phelan, you listen to me. If you think for 1 minute that we...
I thought it would never happen to me again. But it is love that makes the world go around. And so, Grace, if you could only...
I wouldn't love you if you were the last man on earth.
But that's exactly what I am.
I don't care. I don't even want to talk about it. I'm going...
Well, all right, my dear. But think it over. And please, come back.
You see, I told you. It wasn't really so horrible, our story. Remember how it goes? The last man on Earth sat alone in a room, and then there was a knock on the door.
Come in. Come in. Come in, my dear.
You see, it wasn't horrible after all.
WMUK Special Projects has presented the Frederick Brown story, Knock, adapted for radio by Ernest Kinoy. Mark Spink was heard as Walter Phelan, Greg Moody as the Zahn, and Mary Godfrey as Grace Evans. Our narrator was Douglas Dudley. Future Tense is produced and directed by Ellie Siegel. This is Gerard McLeod inviting you and your entire family to join us every Monday through Thursday at the same time for Future Tense. Be sure to listen.